July 21st, Invicta FC 30 has a fantastic card on. Fantastic set of ladies showcasing their skill set. I have one of them joining me right now, Brittney. You're going to be making your debut on Invicta and pro debut as well. So, bit of a bunch there to put into one show, one go. But that's a good way to make it a pro career, so to speak. Good way to kick it off.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very excited that I get to start my pro career fighting on the largest women organization of Invicta. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. So I'm very thrilled.
And your opponent, Erin, she's obviously going to be looking to stop your party happening, but you're training hard, you're prepping, your team is getting you ready for this fight. Let's talk about you then a little bit. Let's get away from your MMA side of things. Let's talk about you as a person, Brittney. First, I want to say, I believe you're a teacher, correct? This is so you'll tell kids at school not to fight, but then you do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely different levels of fighting, and I've definitely gone through that. Talked to them about combative sports versus handling disputes and those sort of issues. So they're very smart. They're wise. They know the distinction. I actually had a student who competes in karate, so I know that particular student, we can have that conversation of how it's a sport and how we're not using fighting for, just physical aggression or to solve problems. We, talk our problems out. So, yeah.
You gotta be careful. The kids are getting smarter these days. You're gonna go round, see a circle of them, be like, "It's all right, miss. We've got a ref. They're wearing gloves. They signed a contract. It's okay, isn't it?" Kids are getting smarter.
Well, I don't know. In that case, they're minors, so in that case, I'm gonna ask them where's your parental or have released this function to happen outside of school grounds. So then I have.
I used to try my best to forge my mum's signature when I was a kid. I sucked at it. I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get her way of doing it. I sucked. I failed. I failed epically at school trying to fake it. They knew they'd call her up as well straight away. You see, back in the day, they just call up. It doesn't look like your signature. And I'm like, oh man, I'm another detention. I was a bit of a bad boy at school. I won't lie, people. So look, being a teacher, having that kind of let's say very different aspect to what you're doing in the cage. It's about being calm. You're teaching, obviously, you're explaining it, but then again, like I say, it links in with martial arts in a way that you're a student of martial arts, but you're a teacher at school. There is some kind of link there. Do you feel like you kind of fall into both quite well, so to speak? You find there's like a bit of a link?
Yeah, there's definitely a link. Just as far as I may be a teacher, but I also express to them that I am not a person who knows everything. So I'm also going to be a student, and I tell them that I also learn from you as well. And it doesn't matter just by age or credentials, that we can still learn from each other. So taking that relationship of mutual learning from each other, I apply that into fighting because I'm a student there, but I'm also, just like with teaching, I think that I understand things a lot more when I teach it. So then I take being a student in fighting, then I'm able to learn it. Then when I'm able to teach it, then that solidifies the knowledge within me, in my mind. So then I can translate that to with my body, and having a deep understanding definitely helps with the physical aspect of it.
As much as people look at mixed martial arts or combat sports really and say, it's Neanderthals, they're just fighting, they're brutes. It's a very, very, very intelligent art form because you have to have super quick reactions to calculate the best way to get out of that high risk coming at you, which is a fist, elbow, knee, foot, whatever it may be. And then think of a way to A, get a way out of it, and then B, to counter that to the best effect in minute, tiny split seconds. Like, you got fractions of a second. The fist can miss your face by a hair's breadth, and it's just insane. Like, honestly, the reaction time, the mindset, it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of learning to do.
Yeah, a lot of drilling, a lot of practicing it. You can't just expect to just go and just. I mean, I know myself as an athlete, just and thinking, oh, I'm so strong, I'm fast. This definitely was not the sport where I just get in. Oh, I just learned it real quick and then I got it. No, it it takes a lot of excessive drilling over a course of time, a long period of time before you can really be able to take that and apply it in like sparring where it's not scripted and you have to now, you know, calculate all of these things at the same time. It's a lot of moving variables.
It is. I had that with well, you'll have had it yourself when you get people to come to the gym and they think that, yeah, man, I saw it on TV, and they think within about 4 weeks they're going to be in a cage with bright lights and they're going to be doing what those guys do. I'm like, you have no idea how much they're like. It's actually sometimes it's kind of boring when you're sitting there doing the same drill over and over again, but you gotta do it because you need to stick in that thick skull. It's sometimes, like, for example, let's say simple drill, armbar drill, off guard, on your back in guard, simple 1, 2, 3 kind of setup. The basics, you've got to drill it over and over again, both sides. Oh man, you and your partner will look at each other going, God damn it, this is just killing me. Can we just do something else for 5 minutes? But you got to do it because when it comes to the punch and you're tired and you're out of breath and you're a bit dazed, somehow that muscle memory just once you slaps that armbar on, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, you got to get it to the points where you just react and you don't think. Because if you think that fraction of a second that person moved, then they're out of that position. So drilling is definitely key.
And you're obviously finding your way with the grappling. I imagine you're getting your blue belt as well recently. Congratulations on that. Because your body type, for example, you've got long arms, long legs. You've got that physique which you have to cater for jiu-jitsu, because you got, for example, me, the bigger boys that call it fat man jiu-jitsu. We cater ourselves in a different kind of facet. So I'll probably go for things that you wouldn't necessarily go as a go-to, but for you, your legs, like for example, a body triangle. Oh, you're all there all day long with those. But for me, I'm like, man, my thighs are too fat to get around. Like, no way am I getting that happening. But I suppose that's obviously something you've learned as a white belt. Coming up to the blue belt stage now, you're starting to get your groove of what suits you and what style of jiu-jitsu suits you.
Yeah, definitely. Learning the sport's one thing, but then also applying those techniques to, well, what works for me? Like, you might show me something and that may work for you, but maybe I'm having a hard time with it. So I've definitely, gotten to points of knowing I got some submissions, I got some things that really works really well for me, and I stick to those, like kind of like my bread and butter. So yeah, I definitely and then there's the other things that where, yeah, my long limbs and my body type, it can work really well for me in certain things, and then it can also come back and bite me in the butt. So also knowing both sides of it, because it's kind of like a gift and a curse to be long when it comes to.
Well, there isn't a perfect body type for jiu-jitsu. It's just who uses their body in the best way and the most effective way. There's no one like, oh, you have to be 6'10" or you have to be 5 foot tall, or there's no idea. You see all these grappling competitions and the people that win them. There's no set frame. They're all different in their own facet. It's like you say, I know I've got weaknesses in certain positions, yourself. So when I get there, I'm wary of them. I'll try to maneuver around it. I'll try to do something different. So your opponent, Erin, she's a bit of a whiz kid on the ground. She's obviously done the EBI, all this stuff like that. Taking that into account, your striking, I honestly see a bright future for you, because I think your striking is one of your far more dynamic assets. When you put a little bit more arsenal into it over time, because sport's about development, you're going to have so many weapons because of your footwork, your movement, the way you use your striking, the way you stop people closing that distance, the way you kind of circle people away from you. I think it's fantastic already at the level it's at, and it's only obviously going to get better. I imagine this is something you have to take into account when you fight someone like this. Make sure she's on the end of your strikes, not pretty much in your face, so she can get like an inside leg trip or something random.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that is my game plan when I'm fighting everyone who's, you know, shorter than me. It's a little different when I'm fighting someone who's just as long as me. But just drilling that constantly and striking, and over a course of time, I've gotten really good at using my jab and keeping people away. It's frustrating for the other person, and it's difficult, and that gives me, you know, confirmation that I'm doing a good job. So I've been definitely working on that, and as far as just the defense and just overall getting to see different looks as well, and for different types of styles to be able to adjust and to adapt to whomever I'm going against. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. I wouldn't say that it will ever be easy to close the gap with my length, and especially since I'm using it well.
Yeah, you are. That's one of your strongest assets I saw when I researched fighters, especially, is the gap when someone tries to get. There's those three zones. There's like A, when you're face to face. B, you're kind of both in punching range of each other, and C, you're on the outer range. For you, you want the kind of C range where you're getting hit, but they can't retort back. Whenever someone tries to go in for that B or A range, especially the A range, you've got a great way of keeping people away from you, framing off, making sure they can't come at you, changing your angle so that their drive is penetrating away from your body. It works fantastic. With that said, you must have got this, I imagine, from your training partners, I assume, because it's something you probably picked up with your training partners, because they're on a roll. You know, a hat trick at LFA is nothing to be mocked with. You know, everyone's kind of ticking along at the gym. So is it something your training partners did and you saw, or is it something your coach kind of added to your game? How did you kind of get this style going?
I mean, well, before I could even spar with anyone, you could just like looking at me like, okay, so you have long arms, so here's obviously what you should do. I'm not going to be I'm going to fight with you in the pocket. I mean, I could dirty boxing when we're in the clinch, and that's great too, but just my physical attributes already, and it feels best for me. Like, I can't really extend my power if I'm only punching to here and not fully extending. So it only makes sense. But training with, you know, those who I train with, like my main training partner is Kelly D'Angelo, and that's what I do with her. She's more of I'm getting on the inside, rushing you, and I'm more on a stay away. So I've definitely, you know, worked on that with her and executed that. And as far as coaching, you know, I've gotten a lot of my beginning boxing, learning everything from my fiance, Charles Johnson. He's been a very critical and strong component within the sport and everything. He's really the one who got me into the sport. So I've gotten a lot from him. And then just taking all of the showering knowledge from our gym, St. Charles MMA, full of so many talented people, so many people who have fought on the big shows, that, you know, when I do get a chance to go around the room and get different looks, that I'm working on those things, and I'm also picking up little things that I like from that person, and that person. So it's definitely a room full of just talent and knowledge, and I'm so happy that I can just get to be there and just absorb from everyone that I go with.
So your fiance got you in to MMA?
Yeah.
That is something I have to say. It's not the most romantic gesture I've ever heard. All right, princess, you look $1,000,000. You would look great though if you had a pair of gloves on, punching someone. Did he forget your birthday and you cracked him? And is that how you found out? You went, you know what, you should do that to someone for a living. How did that come about?
Well, let me rephrase. He asked me to get into it. I was just kind of on my own will. Like, at the time, I was still doing track, and I was competing post-collegiate, and I would go to his fights, and you know, I'm watching it, and I was that person who was like, "Oh, they're just in there." Oh, you know, like, oh, that guy just got punched really hard. Like, didn't know anything, because I never, you know, did any combative sports, not even like wrestling or anything. So after a while, after going more, I'm like, started to pick up on what it was all about, like what's happening in positions, like, okay, what is he trying to do there? And so over a course of time, I started learning more about the sport. And it's exciting when you go to fights and you see someone that you know, and it's also very nerve wracking as well. But then it's like you're in their soul when they win, and it's like, oh, the glory. So when I was decided not to do track anymore, I was like, I want to do that. You know, I kind of got, bought in through it and everything. And so he's like, well, you sure? You don't have to fight. You can just try, jujitsu first. And that's what I did. I just tried jujitsu, and then I was like, okay. Then I was like, all right, I want to box now. So then it was just like a slippery slope. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I think that this is probably good for me. It's kind of a little crazy, but I think that I can be really good at this. So it went on from there.
Well, I was going to say, because like, say the track stuff that you did, like that you've put pictures of St. Louis, I saw with your tops on doing the triple jump long. You've done the athletic side of things, so you've already got an athletic base, which for a lot of people is a key thing. People who aren't athletic, sometimes they have to kind of rely on working their ass off just to even get to certain levels, but you've already got the stability and the athleticism, so you've already got that kind of determination and also work ethic. So I suppose transferring over to the MMA, it wasn't that difficult apart from the punching bit and the kicking bit and the getting hit bit and getting choked and getting armbarred, and I think you'll be like me when you first ever did jiu-jitsu and someone put you in like any kind of choke, you freak out. They're like, get off. You're like tapping them like, oh my god, you touched my neck, I think I'm gonna die. And then all of a sudden you're like, like hours and a year or two later, they're just like choking you, just like, yep, yeah, whatever, yeah, it's all good, I'll get out in a second. You're so calm. And I've got people at work that they'll ask me to sometimes just put them in a choke and they just panic. And now like you yourself, you be calm. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to sleep yet. It's okay. I haven't got those I get little sparkly dots. I don't know about you. I get it's like there's about 50 paparazzi people taking a picture at once. I get those, and then I'm like, oh no, here we go. I'm nearly there. And that's on my side. But yeah, so was that the only bit that was the kind of funky bit, getting over that hump of, okay, it kind of hurts after sessions?
Well, I would guess it wasn't I wasn't like panicky. If anything, it was like, so when it comes to like jujitsu and getting choked, it was like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. And if anything, it's like, okay, kind of frustrating, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try really hard not to get in that position anymore. And it was like, okay, don't do that anymore. It was just like, I'm like, and that's one thing about like teaching, for example, I'm very reflective. So if there was anything that I did, I'm always thinking about it. I'm always looking back on it, and I'm like, okay, well, how can I make sure that doesn't happen, or how can I do this better? Now, when it comes to like the boxing side of it, the stand-up side of it, like getting hit, I was like, kind of worried about that. I was like, well, I realized that I can take a punch, and that wasn't a problem. But then it was just like connecting the control. Like you want to just, the natural instinct of you who just want to go wailing, but there's all this technique that comes with it. So it's like, okay, and then you're not moving as fast and you don't know what to do. So that process was very long and kind of frustrating. But as the more that you drill and you have more competitions, then that went away and it got better. Then it's like, okay, now I can really work on like my head movement. It's just like, there's so many aspects of MMA and there's so many components. It's like you want to just go in and just, okay, work on this and then just be good. But, it takes some time and it's such a long process. So with every fight that I had, I learned something. And like one in particular was my first loss. I learned that I can take a punch in MMA gloves really hard. But then I was like, I also learned that you can't take too many. So everything's a process, but I never looked at it like, oh, away from it. It was like, okay, don't do that again. I just wanted to improve and be better.
That's the crazy thing about striking is the more you relax, the better you are. Like it's so weird. It doesn't make sense. You're like, yeah, just chill. I've held pads with people. I'm trying to coach them, and And I'm like, no, you need to relax. And they're trying to hit it with everything, and they're just so tense that like they're just like so rigid. Like, no, to hit hard, you have to be relaxed. And like they just can't the head wrap. And I'm like, I was you. This is mental. I was you. I couldn't relax either when I first started. I was so tight, and then after about 30 seconds, I'm blowing. I'm like, I can't lift my arms. And now you just just hit the bag for round after round, just smooth and fluid. It is a gradual, ever learning kind of curve. You never hit that top. You never, like even Floyd Mayweather, best boxer potentially. He's never ever stopping from evolving. He's always trying. Even probably now he's probably still wanting that knowledge that bit more. He wants a little bit more because the perfect fight for him would be to never get hit. Like, not once, not one punch lands. So when a punch lands, that fails. So there's always that ultimate goal, and even he knows you can't always hit it. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about martial arts. We're never going to hit that goal. I'm never going to get to the top of any kind of field, but we get to go and try, though. We get to try and get as close as we can because it's so addictive. You just want to get, like playing a computer game, you want to get to that next level. Okay, or you read a book, what's in the next chapter? Or, anything like a TV show, what happens in the next episode? You want to get to that next bit, and that's a beautiful thing about martial arts.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the fact that it is an art, and you learn that it's not like if I do A plus B and it's going to equal C, it's not always like that. Oh, I'm going to throw this combination and I'm always going to land. It's not so much about that. It's about being able to be flowy and being able to be relaxed, and it's how you put things together and in that flow and form, and it's all these different components. And so I love the art aspect of it because you get to create, and you're never going to create the same portrait. And you can continue to create portraits, and it doesn't ever have to end. And you can always find something that you want to tweak and work on. So I love that about the sport.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm talking about art and beauty. You got a beautiful piece of artwork on yourself.
Yeah.
Beautiful swan. There's a story behind it, though. Can you just elaborate to folks on, because when we give your social media out to people, they can jump on and see it, but just give a little bit of an explanation, because I think it's beautiful anyway, the artwork, but the reason behind it, there's a bit to it, and that's what's beautiful about tattoos. A lot of people have stories behind each one, so I'd like to just let everyone hear it.
Yeah, I mean, the aspect of tattoos is body art, and it's in the eye of the beholder, the art that you choose to put on your body. It symbolizes beauty, really. The beautiful white swan, the story of the ugly duckling, and then that grows and matures into this beautiful thing. So it's like kind of that is what I envision in that. And it's all a whole lot deeper than that. It's just like, how you view yourself, and then there's that beautiful side of you that you see, and that you need to see, or maybe that other people see, maybe you don't see. So just that beauty. And I also have like a little black swan down at the bottom there, and that's kind of more just tilted towards, there's that beauty, and there's all that elegance and grace. But then there's also the other side that may not be, it's just a little dark. It doesn't have to be bad, but for me in this case, like, I'm a teacher, but then I'm also a fighter. But then their little dark side is also the other part of me that's like, yeah, I can bring bring some aggression into the cage, and I'm not just soft or pull over the adversity in a sense within yourself, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy of the human race. That's essentially what it is, the human mind.
Yeah.
And everyone looks or tries, you have philosophers that try to explain it with all different kinds, and that's your interpretation, and that's a beautiful way to put it. And that's why I find it beautiful, because some people just get tattoos and like, oh, why'd you get it? Like, because I was half drunk, man, and it looked good. And you're like, okay, you keep rocking, kid. Yeah, good on you. I've got and like you said, there's more to go on to, and I'm like you, I've got work on my back. I'm getting more. Mine's probably going to go, probably cover my back and go on my chest and shoulder and arm and go down my leg. It's a gradual thing. art is like that, you know. Sometimes it won't end. It's just adding a little bit each time to that almost finished beautiful picture, and that's what this is. Martial arts art, it kind of all blends in together. And now, before I let you shoot off, I don't want to keep you much longer, Brittney. I know you've got a lot on today. You're a busy woman in life, and obviously got the fight coming up to get prepped for. Let's wrap this up, so to speak. Can you give people at home your social media so they can jump on and give you a follow and potentially see that beautiful swan?
Yeah. You can, my social media, Instagram and Twitter, I'm the Quiet Storm at MMA, Quiet Storm MMA. I have a Facebook page under Brittney Cloudy. I'm going to make a fan page soon with that. So
you should do it. You should do it before the fight. Yeah. I reckon you should totally do it before the fight. Because then people can jump on. Once the fight happens, they can go and find it, you see? Yeah, thinking, you see? And what about your sponsors, people out there that help you out in the fight camps?
Oh, man, I have gotten so much love for this first fight. I'm overjoyed that I have a handful of sponsors. So a special shout out to Thornton Tax, Summit Signing Graphics, Eyewitness Fitness, Winning Streak, Bad Chicks MMA. I love their gear. New Horizons Power Washing, and Energy. He actually designed my banner, which is Charles Johnson's. Love that. So I'm glad that I have the support of my sponsors, and I'm looking forward to, you know, continuing our relationship and building on from there. Because it's going to be a really great fight, and it's gonna make a big ripple in this ocean of water that I'm jumping into.
Hey, look, that's great, that support, you know, and that's key. And I love that fact that you got people backing you up and supporting you. And last but not least, though, you said the gym before, but give a shout out to the gym, how people can maybe find it if they're in the area and they maybe want to try, not just to compete, but it's good for fitness in general. I think it's great it's exercise the mind as much as the body, and obviously training partners and all that.
Yeah. So I'm at St. Charles MMA. So it's about 30 minutes away from inner city St. Louis. It's out west. There's a Marcus movie theater right there in the parking lot. We're kind of off in a little cut there, but it's the gym with the red door. We have kids classes as well as adult classes. Classes starting at 6 a.m. Jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, judo. So we have everything in wrestling. And then Eyewitness Fitness is actually our strength and conditioning trainer. He comes in and he runs classes Monday through Friday. So it's just about everything that you can think of, you can get from our gym. And it's growing, and it's full of amazing people, really talented fighters, but then also it's really like a family. It's like my second family. We're all very close knit. So yeah, come check out St. Charles MMA if you're ever in the Midwest, and especially for women fighters, love to have traffic flowing through. If you're ever training and traveling, we'll love to welcome any, you know, fighters coming in who just want to get some work in as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, honestly, people jump in, give them a session, try it out. And I implore anyone to try any form of martial arts, really, and especially, you know, like you said, there's a lot of options, a lot. So there's no excuses for people who want to train and get fit and get involved. Even if it just gives people a bit more knowledge on the sport. Look, thank you so much, Brittney, for your time. Enjoy the rest of the fight camp. Not long left. Just a little bit more water to drink. And then you get to take on your debut, Invicta FC, UFC Fight Pass, streamed around the world. Not a little bit, the whole world get to watch it. That is awesome. I'll be tuned in. I'll be watching it live, you see. I can't wait for it. So again, thanks for your time. Have an awesome experience.
All right. Thank you. And thanks for your time as well.